Before we go, shall we deal with the whole dramatic issue and then we'll go to the board and the
Well, there's an interesting judgment of the Privy Council this week in which they had dismissed an appeal brought by Abu Bakr, in which he was alleging that he had made a deal with the Prime Minister and certain affidavits were filed, sworn to and filed. They've dismissed his claim, clearing the road for the state to levy execution on his properties. There's some $32 million outstanding.
So the Prime Minister would have done it. At the time, he wasn't the Prime Minister. So that's what the argument is.
No, well, the argument was that the documents that Abu Bakr swore to were irrelevant for the proceedings. And what the Privy Council said is that if he had entered into any discussions with Abu Bakr for the purposes of cutting a deal, he could not do so on behalf of the state, and in any event it would be illegal.
Why would it be illegal, and why not?
Well, it would be contrary to the Prevention of Corruptions Act. In other words, if you're cutting a deal with somebody, listen, you don't, I will give you contracts, support me, and I will waive going. I mean, that's corruption of the highest level. But what is interesting is the Privy Council made very serious comments if it were to be true. Remember, there's no decision on the truthfulness of Abu Bakr's affidavit, and it's a sworn document. Now, what they're saying is, had that been tested, serious allegations would arise, serious consequences would come out of it. But what really is left is the DPP, or the Commissioner of Police, having regard to those comments of the Privy Council, must now investigate Abu Bakr's sworn statement to see if there's any truth of it, and if there was any corruption, and if these allegations are true or not, because they are serious. And you see, why I know you depart from the support of the Privy Council, but no court in Trinidad would ever make those comments. It was at the Court of Appeal, it was at the regular court. No court will say that. Just like the Trinity Cross case last week at the Privy Council. In an impartial way, the Privy Council gives decisions and make comments that are designed to guide us. Now, it's left to be seen whether the Commissioner of Police or the DPP is going to investigate what could be perceived to be a corrupt act. At the end of the day, it may be dismissed, it may have no merit, and Abu Bakr might be just trying to find a way to exit from paying a debt. But if it is raised at such a high forum, and it is a sworn statement, regardless of what his stature is, that is Abu Bakr, it ought to be investigated because the allegation remains lying.
How can the Prime Minister say, I have to seek legal counsel? Surely if it's not true, you say it's not true. If it is true, then you say, I have to seek legal counsel, which means it tells me that it must be true.
Well,
or it's not
I think what he wants to seek advice on is what is the implication of what the Privy Council said, and whatever he says now could find himself in trouble. I'm certain he would have filed an affidavit basically saying I deny it.
Well, right, so just say I deny it and I'm seeking legal counsel.
Well, one would
if it's not true,
indeed, of course,
I deny it and I am seeking legal counsel.
But you see, what it does, it raises suspicion. If this exists, it has to be investigated, because remember, the Privy Council didn't make a decision on the truth of that. They said it's irrelevant to these proceedings, but it remains a sworn statement of serious allegations. Now, what do? Do we say, well, just brush it aside and ignore it? And that's where we fail. And again, this will fall in the responsibility of the media, lawyers, and the citizens to really push these type of issues, because clearly, as I've said before, the opposition always seems to miss the boat. Even with the Integrity Commission, they couldn't even find the letter that referred to the appointment being made by the president. But it comes back to those independent persons who decided to push the issue and ventilate it, that you found results taking place. So that one wonders, the comments made by the Privy Council, what is going to be done? And whether anything, because they have serious far-reaching implications. I'm sure the government is going to try to overshadow it with dealing with the property issue, but the Prime Minister needs to make a statement, and I hope he says today the Attorney General is going to advise him. I hope he says something that will clear the air, and those who have to deal with it take the proper action that they should.